Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tim's Takeaways. Hope everybody had a good week. Hard to believe we're already in May and we're into our final sports seasons for the public schools. We've got baseball, wrestling, girls tennis, and track and field going on. All of those sports have started playing games or having competitions or events, and so it'll be fun here over the final few months or final month or two. Um, to see how our teams do. Those are always pretty strong sports for our area teams, so looking forward to seeing what will come during those sports. But we also do have a lot of other sports that are kind of finishing up, both in the public schools and in the private schools. That's why I want to start this week with the playoffs, the upcoming playoffs, and give some thoughts on how I think our area teams can do. I want to start, in case you haven't been following and understand how the North Carolina High School Athletic Association is doing the playoffs this year. Um, they are just doing random drawings for seating numbers. So normally in the past, like your max preps ranking has helped determine what seed you get. So teams that have stronger strengths of schedules or are undefeated, have had great seasons, have typically been higher in the seedings. This year, all the conference champions are placed into a hat and randomly drawn. And I mentioned on Twitter on Saturday yesterday that we had this area had done pretty well in random draws. I know the Ashley girls got a 1 seed. We've had some teams that have had some pretty good draws, but yesterday was really tough for Hoggard in softball and in girls soccer. So the softball team's undefeated, a perfect 14-0. Just had a dominant season. One of the best teams I've seen, probably the best team in the area I've seen in my 18 years of doing this, and unfortunately drew a 7 seed in the playoffs. So they'll get at least one home playoff game, and then unless there's some upsets, they could be on the road for the next couple up until the East Final, the East Regional Championship Series, and the State Championship Series. So in past years where this Hoggard team would have almost been guaranteed a 1 seed, unfortunately they did not get a great random draw and ended up drawing the 7. So I still think the Vikings have plenty of firepower, both offensively and then they've got Isis Tresvik on in the circle, so they're going to be just fine, at home or on the road. It's more of just I wish I had a chance to see them at home in the playoffs. So maybe we'll get some upsets and Hoggard will get some home games. If not, I fully expect them to make a deep run, and hopefully I can get out to another state championship series this year to cover them again. On the girls soccer side, just one loss for Hoggard, but still, since they weren't the conference champions, since Ashley had a better overall or a better head-to-head record in those matches against Hoggard, Ashley was declared the conference champion. That means Hoggard had to get a wild card spot, and they drew the 16 seed, which there's only 16 teams in the East and in the West. So no home games for Hoggard soccer. They cannot play a home game. Even if they make it to the East Final and the 15 seed on the bottom half of the bracket makes it, that game would be at the 15 seed. So, Hoggard soccer is done playing at home, but they still, like the softball team, plenty of talent on that team. Would not be surprised at all to see, even as a 16 seed, Hoggard make the East Final, potentially even the state championship. We did have some teams get some good seeds. The Topsail softball team drew the 1 seed, so they will be at home as far as they go. Ashley girls soccer got the 2 seed, so they're going to be at home for a little while as long as they keep winning. So it wasn't all bad news yesterday for this area as far as random seeds go, but it was a tough day for Hoggard. Uh, as far as playoff chances go, on the softball side, I think we've got 3 teams that could, would not surprise me at all if they played in the East Final or even made it to a state championship series. I love the way Pender's been playing in 1A. It's a good mix of some talented seniors, Haley Schaefer, Tiana Holmes, and then some really talented freshmen, Lily Hanson, Jemiah Johnson, Shemaiah Johnson. They've got a really good balance. There's I think 5 maybe freshmen starting in the lineup, but then like I said, they've got those upperclassmen who have been in this playoff situation and have done this, so they'll provide some really good leadership. I think in 1A especially, you tend to see teams that are maybe a little bit more top heavy in the lineup, or have one really good pitcher. I think Pender's really balanced. They've got a good lineup all the way through, and they've got 2 really good pitchers. So I really like Pender's chances to make a deep run, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get out there and see them in the playoffs at some point. Like I said, Topsail's the 1 seed in 3A. Love what they've been doing. They gave Hoggard their best 2 games of the season, and really were right in it with them up there when they played at home, and in a 1-0 game. So Emma Neely in the circle is going to keep them in every game. It's just going to be a matter of if they can score enough runs, and that lineup is really talented, especially at the top with Zoe Vincent, Olivia Visconti, Sydney Hartgrove, and Taisha Williams as the top 4 hitters. And then you get a freshman, Riley Reuter, who bats 5th. So that's a strong lineup. The toughest game, I think, for Topsail is going to come potentially in the second round. D.H. Conley had a tough draw and drew I believe, the 8 or the 9 seed. So Topsail would have to play D.H. Conley in the second round if both teams win. The good thing is it'll be in Hampstead, so that'll they could hopefully have a nice crowd out there and use that to their advantage. I already talked about Hoggard. I'd be shocked if they're not in the East Final. Just way too much firepower. The best lineup I've seen in this area in 18 years. Good luck trying to hold down all 9 players in that lineup. I just don't see anybody being able to do it. And then Isis Tresvik is one of the best pitchers in the entire state. So Hoggard, I think, is the heavy favorite in 4A. In girls soccer, I love Ashley and Hoggard and Laney. I love all of them. I think we've got 4 of the best teams in the entire East here, and would not be surprised at all to see all 3 teams win their first round, maybe even win all 3 maybe could potentially win their second round games. I think Hoggard's extremely dangerous up at the top half of the bracket. I actually really like that bracket for them. I think the bottom half's a little stronger, and that's where Ashley is. We'll see if they can bounce back. They suffered their first loss in the regular season finale at Laney last week, so we'll see if the Screaming Eagles, they've been battling some injury issues, and so we'll see if they can right the ship. I think they'll get back on track this week and pick up a couple victories, and then once you get into the second, third round, really you got to be good and a little lucky, I think, to be able to advance. So we'll see how those teams do. Private school, don't want to forget those. They've got their playoffs getting ready to get underway as well. Cape Fear Academy in boys lacrosse and in boys tennis will be, if not the favorites, one of the favorites to win the state championships. The Coastal Christian girls had a great season. They finished undefeated in the Coastal Rivers Conference and claimed the outright championship for the first time in program history. So they'll get a pretty high seed and should have some home games. So those are 3 teams on the private school side to look out for. Want to finish up, but this is running a little long, but just wanted to finish up tonight today with a little bit of my thoughts on some baseball. We're only 2 games into the Mid-Eastern Conference, and I said in my preview I thought it was as wide open as it's ever been. Well, we only have 2 undefeated teams left. It's South Brunswick and Ashley, who on paper I think were the 2 favorites coming into the season. North Brunswick, a huge victory over Hoggard, and Topsail, a really big victory over New Hanover on Friday night. So I think we're going to see teams kind of beating up on each other, which it could end up hurting some of these teams because, if you don't win the conference championship, overall record is how they're determining wild cards. So it could end up being detrimental that this conference is so good because we could have teams just kind of beating up on each other, and we could end up with a lot of teams near that 7-7 or 8-6 record, and I'm not sure that's going to be good enough to get into the wild card. So I think as of right now, it looks like South Brunswick and Ashley, just through a couple games, are going to be the teams to beat. Both teams are so good offensively. Ashley scored 27 runs through 2 games. South Brunswick hung 19 on Laney in their first game on a Friday night. So those 2 offenses are going to be fun to watch. Can't wait for that matchup. They'll actually play twice, so I'll definitely be at one of them because it's going to be fun. It could be a really high-scoring game with both of those offenses. So with that, I will leave you for this week, and it's going to be a busy week. I'll be out at a lot of, the playoffs are getting underway, so I'll be out at playoffs on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hopefully. And then we've got, some baseball and wrestling and track and girls tennis going on throughout the rest of the week. So I could potentially be at events all 5 days this week. I'll put together a schedule later today and figure out where I'll be at. But as always, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and be sure to check out coastalpreps.com every night. The only place where you can get recaps of all the games. If you want to see scores or find out how games went down in New Hanover, Brunswick, and Pender County, there's only one place you can find that, and that's at Coastal Preps. So if you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to do that. If not, we'll have a free on 3 day coming up this week, and you'll be able to check out all that content even if you're not a subscriber. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.